help is not happening like everybody would expect, especially in America. You think, hey, we have all these resources, all these whatever government programs that supposedly is supposed to help you and keep you safe and come to your rescue, and that's not really happening for these people for some reason. It's getting very delayed. It's The response is very very bad from the system.
Hey, folks, welcome to another edition of A Life Prepped. This is actually an episode that we're kind of bringing to you kind of in an emergency situation because of an event that's happening currently right now in the US. And we wanted to kind of talk about it because it really relates to what this podcast is about and what we're passionate about. So, the event that we're talking about is there's a hurricane recently in the States called Helena, and as you probably already know, it's impacted a major part of the Carolinas, Tennessee, and Georgia, and the Appalachian Mountains there. And there's a major disaster going on. And we want to kind of go over that because it really ties into be prepared, right? In some ways, we can say probably these people in the mountains probably they couldn't have prepared for water probably because they who could have thought water would be a factor here. So all right, let's open it up to you guys. What do you guys think? Have you guys been reading about this? I'm actually kind of angry, and I'll go over that a little bit as we discuss this. So have you guys run into this?
I just heard it's a major disaster over there, and things are not happening. Help is not happening like everybody would expect, especially in America. You think, hey, we have all these resources, all these whatever government programs that supposedly is supposed to help you and keep you safe and come to your rescue, and that's not really happening for these people for some reason. It's getting very delayed. It's The response is very very bad from the system.
Like the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. There's reports that they're actually not helping much, and anybody that wants to help is getting blocked, which is really strange and very surprising.
Let me backtrack one more just for the audience to give, maybe you're coming watching this from other countries and you don't know what to talk. So about a week ago there was a hurricane. They started out in Florida, below Florida, and it kind of missed the state of Florida and kind of went up the coast in the US, and it kind of hit a mountainous region that never probably gets hit with a hurricane. It's maybe very, very rare. But it happened this time, and it hit high up in the mountains in this region, Appalachia, it's called. And I believe a dam broke and it inundated rivers, and houses were swept. Hundreds of houses, from what we understand, right, guys?
In the mountains,
In the mountains. And I
it's
mean, on
crazy.
the hill, on the top of a mountain, your house is getting run over by a river. I mean, that's
Yeah,
crazy. Who'd ever thought that would happen? And speaking of emergencies, if we were probably gonna sit here and then make an episode about preparing for emergencies, I don't know if we could have, if we would have thought
yeah,
to tell you about this, right?
yeah. This scenario is
You would
very
have said, "Hey, if you live in the mountains, buy a raft."
Exactly, like pretty much, like Noah,
What?
like it's basically like Noah, right? Get ready. There's gonna be a big flood coming, and put your boat on the top of a mountain. It's gonna be swept away. I mean, it's crazy, but that's the scenario we're talking about here. And so now, kind of going back to what you guys are saying, we're not happy and we're concerned that here in the US, this FEMA organization, which is supposed to come in, bring in military if needed to basically lift these people out of there. A lot of them are stuck. They're on top of the mountain, the roads are blocked, and they're stuck. And now, almost a week into it, people are still stuck in their houses on the roof and with
Yeah,
no food, no, many of them no food, no shelter because their house is swept away. That's the
Yeah,
scenario here.
and a lot of
but
people were
see,
missing. I think there was like hundreds
yeah,
missing.
a lot of people that died. The problem is this. I mean, the FEMA has its benefits and all that stuff, but it's in a country this big. There's no way. There's not enough first responders. First of all, like our city is pretty big. It's got 80,000 people. There's like what 300 cops, and how many EMTs, and they're not going to be able to solve all the problems. You have to be prepared yourself, and you can't. I mean, there's way too many different things that are going to be happening if anything does go bad. Like in the situation, people are helpless. They
This
can't.
is a great example of what we've been talking about and why we exist as life prepped. Because we're preaching, be ready for an emergency. It doesn't have to be a nuclear bomb. It doesn't have to be a
No.
war or some kind of apocalyptic event. It could be something that could happen at the spur of a moment. Like these guys, the water just came out of nowhere in a matter of minutes and swept up the house. I've seen hundreds, not hundreds, sorry. I've seen many videos that are now on Twitter. We can see the water coming, the guy's filming, and the next moment they can't film anymore because the house is swept away.
That's
That's
insane.
crazy.
And you would think that this would, that's why we preach be prepared for anything. In some scenarios you can't even be prepared for something like this, but there's probably, there's a scenario where if you have some stuff like extra supplies, um you probably have a way better chance than somebody else. And I think a lot of people, what we're learning out of this story and why we're kind of bringing this up and a little bit angry here is, I think people are relying on the government, and the government is failing them miserably.
Yeah,
Big time.
So FEMA, right? That's what there's. I just read a bunch of tweets. Elon Musk is putting them out. I don't think Elon Musk would put something out if he thought like I don't think he'd put himself out that way if he thought they were fake. But there's a
hmm
lot of stories on Twitter where people are told to stand down. They can't go help their neighbors because FEMA said, hey, it's not your jurisdiction. You go back in your house.
yeah. That's
Yeah, it's weird.
How is that possible?
interesting.
Donations that people brought together at church, FEMA came and confiscated them. What the heck is going on? I don't understand.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I'm sure these people are like relying. We're very happy to hear that FEMA's coming, and then FEMA's coming, and they're not getting to them. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, and they're blocking anybody else that would come to them. It's almost like they want to be the ones that are saving people. Maybe
Or or
that's
not. But the problem is they're not saving them fast enough. The
of course
FEMA
not.
got there
No.
from what I read, like 3 days late. Like the governor of North Carolina didn't declare emergency, state of emergency, only 3 days after the emergency happened. Like, what the heck is going on?
well, yeah. Whatever the government does is very inefficient, because they have unlimited resources, but they're not. So they just we're paying all this tax on having all these programs, but it's very inefficient. It's one of the most inefficient organizations. It's not a private entity where they care about competition, because there is no competition for them. So they they do whatever goes with it. And yeah, it's very yeah, it's very
Very
concerning.
frustrating.
And we said in the first episode we talked about this. You don't want to go to a FEMA camp with your family. You want to be able to survive on your own. And in a big city, if the water gets shut off, power goes out for a long time, that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to
I actually heard they're
get you
teaming up with the
down there.
NFL, and they're going to be taking over stadiums. FEMA's going to take over stadiums and have people there.
Yeah, they're
You don't
partnering
want. You
up.
don't want to be there.
Yeah, because
You don't want to be there.
So you want to have your comforts and all your things ready at your house to be able to, to weather out these kind of disasters. And another very concerning thing: there are laws in United States at the federal level that they can confiscate things from people that have, supplies, resources, and things like that. So the government can come in, on, there's written stuff in the laws they made or whatever, that they can actually take stuff from you and give it to whatever, redistribute it or keep it for themselves. So that's another thing, is, you have to not show that you have a lot of things, maybe not, don't, a lot of stuff, try to keep it to yourself, private. Don't talk to everybody about it, I have this much stuff and this much. But that's another thing that's very concerning too, if they have that authority to take stuff from you. So don't trust the system. That's my point, is do not trust the system. They're not your friend. They do not care about you as an individual. Think about that. How many of those guys actually, I mean, I'm sure there are some that, out of, like your local firefighter cares, about you maybe, but the federal guys, they come in, they're used to these things and they don't care. It's just statistics for them.
Yeah. So, so I mean, I don't know if I don't think we're trying to rant and come down and on the government here, but for some reason, because I think FEMA probably does some good things. I'm sure they come in but in this particular scenario, they failed, right?
Mhm.
And I've heard it happen. Katrina, right? That was another big failure, from what I understand. But I'm sure there's scenarios where they're doing a great job or whatever. But in this particular scenario, they are definitely not helping and they're failing miserably. And this channel is really about helping families be prepared, right? And it kind of proves the point here that you need to be prepared and you can't rely, unfortunately, even on the government. In this particular situation, guys, um, there's people that houses got swept away, but there's also scenarios where the house didn't get swept away, but they cannot get out. The roads are a lot closed. There's like water everywhere around them, from what I'm reading, and they're stuck in their house. So imagine if how much how much, if they don't have stuff in their house that could help them outlast 2 3 days, a month, hopefully not a month, but a week, that could be a major problem. And I don't know what's going on right now with this. They're saying the death toll is, the media is not reporting on it, but they're saying, you know 500, but people are saying it's a lot more than that, unfortunately.
So one of the lessons is also, if you are living more, let's say you think, oh, I'm really safe because I live more in a rural area, or I'm a little bit more not like right next to a big city. Things can happen even in those cases, so you have to be prepared no matter what.
Natural disasters don't care where you live.
While we were
Who would have
away,
thought a hurricane would impact the mountains of North Carolina? Are you kidding me? The mountains. I understand the shoreline, but not the
yeah,
mountains. And wow, this is a once in a lifetime maybe event like this, but it
and
happened.
yeah, and there was the Texas thing we were talking about, where around 200 people died because they were
Snowstorm.
stranded, and that was in Texas. From
We
yeah,
got
so
off a
there,
snowstorm in Texas.
yeah, they some people died of cold conditions in Texas. So I mean, that's that. There you go. It's just, you never know what could happen anywhere. Hawaii, the fire, and all kinds of things that could happen in different locations. Earthquakes on the West Coast could happen anytime soon. Um, I
There's
mean,
something that
it's just,
happened in Ohio with you guys recently, and the train.
yeah. I was
Can
gonna
you
say,
talk about that
yeah.
real quick?
While we were away, we were overseas in Europe, in Romania, and we just get a phone call that the power is out, and that was out at the business where we produce food, and so we had to figure out remotely how to put everything, scramble, get everything out of the fridges, freezers, and move them to a rented facility that we have close by. But So we thought we've had that before where the power went out for like, let's say, a
8
day,
hours.
maybe 8 hours, a little overnight. But this time, it wasn't like that. I mean, it just kept going. The power is not coming back on. They
It's
kept
what,
calling
two,
us.
2.5 days, and that matters a lot in a business that has a lot of fridges and freezers. We know
Yeah.
one company near us that the guy didn't sleep for 3 days because he kept switching back and forth between generators to make everything run. Because those guys had like a lot of a lot of fridges and a lot of freezers,
It's a
and if
deli,
you would,
so yeah.
yeah, if that went out, they'd lose so much money.
And so we were talking to our neighbors while we were there about the situation, and people are okay if it goes out for like a day or two, and I'm sure everybody has had some experience where the power's out for a little bit. But my neighbor was like, now it's getting to day three, and all the stuff in my fridge and everything is gone. I had to throw out everything, and it's getting, we don't have power. I mean, it's just it becomes, especially everybody here in America is very comfortable. They have everything they need. All of a sudden, it gets to day three, day four, day five. Some of them didn't have power for like a week here, I think. um, that's when you're starting to say, this is not good. So it happened. It happened here, and we have to be ready for longer. What if it goes out for a month? What do you have the stuff? What you need? It was crazy. And then
We
one more
were
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, we
go
were
ahead.
gonna buy a generator right before we left, and we didn't. We were like, guys, nothing's gonna happen while we're gone, but it did. And even us were, always prepared. We even said like, oh, you know, it's not gonna happen while we're gone in a few weeks.
Because we
It'll
needed
make
a special one for the business where you can power up like heavy equipment and other things like that. So, but now we have it, and we're gonna show a video of how it works. It's a great thing to have.
Yeah,
Um,
very nice.
Yeah.
while we were there, another thing that happened is my my parents, they were on their way, like right around that time, because there were some big storms here. Right around that time, on their way from a friend's house, my mom, my dad were driving their car, and everything seemed okay. It was at night, in the evening, and all of a sudden there was a crazy rain pour down. Flush flooded, like a flash flood, came through right in a valley area they were driving through. And this is in the city, and they were like, wait a minute, it's like the roads are blocked with water, how are we going to get through? And then my dad saw an area where he could go around, I guess. And they tried to go around, but the car got stuck, and water started pouring into the car like you see in the movies. I mean, it was just like actually crazy. Like they had to start figuring out, are we can't get out of the car because the water's already up to the doors. The car stopped running, so it was dead. And they just call 911, and they were just waiting there to see if somebody can come, get them. So that was like within 15 minutes it happened. I'm just saying, it just, you never know. Like, it's just a sunny
That
day and
whole
there's
"it
some
can't
big.
happen to me" kind of thing happens to you, and it happens to me, and it happens to my parents.
Yeah, it's kind of really sad that we're coming on here because of a scenario like this. But we're, first of all, I'm not very happy. I'm very angry about this. So I wanted to, I don't know, kind of spill it on the air, I guess you could say, because it's going to be a warning for us and for you guys, um, that anything could happen. Something you never expect, and hopefully this episode is a warning to somebody, um, and can save your life.
Yeah,
So
Don't rely on outside help, basically.
yeah,
I
that's
was
the.
reading some tweets recently about this scenario, and they're saying people are saying, that saying is that the cavalry's coming. Don't worry, the cavalry's coming to save you. And there are people
Yeah.
commenting below and saying the cavalry's not coming in this scenario.
You are
Like
the cavalry. You
you
better
are, you
prepare.
got to figure this out on your own. Like, and I don't know. I guess these people are inside of. They're tweeting from inside the disaster area, kind of like saying, "Hey, I'm sure that somebody's coming to get us," and people are like basically responding back, "They're not. You got to figure this out on your own." I mean,
Yeah.
that's crazy to
That's
hear
funny.
that here in the States with the, so much army and so many soldiers and so many, National Guard and this guard. And I'm baffled by this.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not.
I know you
I'm.
guys.
I always had a bad feeling about FEMA and government help and all that stuff. That who was it? Reagan that said, I'm not a big fan of Reagan, but he said like when the government says like, "Hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help," they're not.
Yeah.
So
I like Reagan,
Right.
so I think he was a wise man. It sounds like we don't put our
yeah,
hope in men. I mean, no matter what, we should put our hope in God first and foremost,
yes,
and that's something you'll hear on this channel. But more than
When,
that, God also gives you wisdom, right? And we're kind of saying he speaks through people many times, and here we are speaking, and so maybe this is a sign for you to get prepared. If
yeah.
you've kind of procrastinated doing that, check out our website lifeprep.com. We have so many resources there, manuals, as well as basically all the equipment you need to get prepared. Check it out.
And also, yeah, also in the US, we're coming very close to elections now.
yeah.
And I know a lot of people are worried about even civil unrest that could happen. Either way, whoever wins, it could turn into, riots or some other uh, problems, society type problems. So again, in Romania, where we are there, they're worried about a war with the Russian side coming in because it's a NATO country. So I talked to a lot of people there, and they're setting up all these bases there and everything, NATO. So something's doesn't look
Something's brewing.
yeah, something's brewing all over the world. With a lot of different,
Iran just attacked Israel, right?
yeah, that
Yeah,
too.
that's
So
that's concerning.
yeah, just it's better to be ready for anything that's coming up soon.
All right, guys.
Well,
So we're
thank
gonna
you.
wrap this up here, but we'll leave some articles below to what we talked about. We didn't just make the stuff up, um, and you can read it for yourself. But you know, hopefully this is a good warning, and hopefully you'll take some action to not rely on the government, I guess, if or even sometimes your neighbors or whatever, because maybe you're thinking, somebody's in the neighborhood's gonna save me. Well, maybe they're relying on you,
Yeah,
and so
Might
you
be
should.
the bystander effect, and that whole idea where like, oh, somebody else is gonna call, emergency. If you see somebody hurt on the street, there's a lot of people. There's the thing where like everybody thinks somebody else is gonna do something about it, but nobody actually does anything about it. And you find yourself in the position where you're like one neighbor will know what to do, and then like you all talk to each other and nobody knows what to do, and that's
you want to be that person that helps
yeah,
others.
You should definitely get together with your neighbors and plan if something does happen, so you can be
Yeah,
as a group and work together.
great
That's
idea.
for sure. We definitely
That's
encourage.
great.
I mean, if you don't do it because for yourself, do it for your kids. Do it for your family. If you have kids and you have a family, it makes this even more important because they're gonna rely on you in those situations. And anyway, all right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up here, this episode, and we're gonna continue. Hopefully, we'll have you guys. Hopefully, you'll join us on the next episode. We'll have a few more um, surprises. We're looking forward to sharing with you um, more resources about prepping. You're having a life prepped, but also we'll bring on experts that are gonna address a lot of these issues and share with you guys the experiences they have on many
Mm.
different in many different fields.
Yeah, and
related to
we're
this.
gonna we're putting a link on also a small test. It's like basically a survival quiz that's free, where you just go to it, and it's a short one. It's got just a few questions about your house setup, and that just kind of gives you an idea of where you are probably lacking, in preparing. So
I mean,
you
that's
can
a
take
very good point. We'll put a link in the description that helps you gauge how prepared are you. And
that.
don't worry, even this quiz is going to give you a gauge for that. But anyway, check it out. It's a great tool that at least gives you an idea if you're somewhat even prepared, remotely. Good.
Yeah,
So we'll put that in the description. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
thank you.
We'll see you guys
Have a
on the
good
next
one.
one. Have a great and stay safe out there. And God bless. Have a
Yeah,
great day.
Bye
take care,
bye.
everybody.
Take care.
That's all the time we have for today on A Life Prepped. However, remember, whether you're a seasoned prepper or just getting started, Life Prepped is here to help you be prepared for anything in any emergency. For more tips, tricks, and expert advice, head on over to our website at lifeprep.com. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to our social media channels. We'd really love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. Also, join the conversation or continue the conversation using the hashtag LifePrepped. Till next time, have a great day.